What if the one thing your body does automatically, the thing doctors never question, the thing you've done over 20,000 times today, is the exact reason you are exhausted, anxious, and slowly breaking down from the inside? You've been told breathing is involuntary, natural, safe. But here's what nobody is telling you. Most adults in the modern world have completely lost the ability to breathe correctly. And the consequences are not minor. We're talking about elevated cortisol levels, chronic inflammation, disrupted sleep, brain fog, and a nervous system permanently stuck in panic mode. A 2017 study published in the journal Chest found that up to 80% of people with anxiety disorders display chronic hyperventilation patterns, even when they feel completely calm. 80%. That's not a fringe statistic. That's nearly everyone. So stay with me, because by the end of this, here's the truth that mainstream medicine almost never talks about in your annual checkup. Your body has two breathing modes. There is diaphragmatic breathing, deep, slow, belly-driven breaths that activate your parasympathetic nervous system, sometimes called rest and digest. And then there is chest breathing, shallow, rapid upper lung breaths that signal your sympathetic nervous system, your fight or flight response, that danger is present. Now here's where it gets uncomfortable. Thanks to desk jobs, smartphone posture, chronic stress, and a culture that never slows down, the vast majority of adults have completely abandoned diaphragmatic breathing. They breathe from the chest all day, every day, without realizing it. And when you breathe from your chest, your body interprets that pattern as a biological threat signal. Your brain cannot distinguish between shallow breathing caused by a lion chasing you and shallow breathing caused by scrolling social media. The physiological response is identical. Every shallow breath you take is quietly telling your nervous system, "We are not safe." And your body responds accordingly, flooding you with cortisol, tightening your muscles, spiking. Let me break down exactly what happens inside your body during a single shallow breath, because this is where most health content completely fails you. When you breathe shallowly from your chest, you use only the top third of your lung capacity. This means less oxygen reaches your alveoli, the tiny air sacs responsible for gas exchange. Less efficient gas exchange means higher carbon dioxide retention relative to oxygen uptake, which triggers chemoreceptors in your brainstem to send a low-grade alarm signal. Now, this alarm signal does three damaging things simultaneously. First, it activates your adrenal glands to release cortisol and adrenaline. Second, it causes your diaphragm, which is literally a muscle, to become chronically tense and dysfunctional. A tense, underused diaphragm pushes upward against your stomach, contributes to acid reflux, compresses your lower spine, and weakens your core stability. Third, and this one will genuinely shock you, it alters your blood pH. Chronic hyperventilation, even subtle hyperventilation, causes a condition called respiratory alkalosis. Your blood becomes slightly too alkaline, and when that happens, your neurons become hypersensitive. You experience tingling, muscle cramps, dizziness, heart palpitations, and that overwhelming sense of anxiety that seems to come from nowhere. Sound familiar? Millions of people are being treated for anxiety disorders when the root cause is literally the way they are breathing, every single day. This is not fringe science. This is not biohacker speculation. Let's look at the actual research. In 1994, Dr. Peter Nixon, a British cardiologist at Charing Cross Hospital in London, published research linking dysfunctional breathing patterns to cardiac arrhythmias, fatigue syndromes, and panic disorder. He called it the human function curve and demonstrated that chronic overbreathing was silently accelerating physiological breakdown in his patients. In 2001, a landmark study in The Lancet analyzed heart rate variability, one of the most reliable markers of cardiovascular health, and found that slow diaphragmatic breathing at 6 breaths per minute significantly improved autonomic nervous system balance in both healthy adults and heart failure patients. 6 breaths per minute. The average American takes 15 to 20. Then in 2018, Stanford neuroscientist Dr. Andrew Huberman and his team began publishing research confirming that the rhythm of your breath directly controls the rhythm of your brain. Slow nasal breathing literally synchronizes brainwave activity in the hippocampus and prefrontal cortex, the regions responsible for memory, emotional regulation, and decision-making. Fast chest breathing desynchronizes them. Your breath is not just keeping you alive. It is actively shaping your mind, your mood, and your longevity in real time. And nobody told you. Here is where the mainstream narrative completely falls apart, and why you have been misled not necessarily by malice, but by a medical system that treats symptoms, not systems. Most people believe that if they feel like they are getting enough air, their breathing is fine. That is completely false. Dysfunctional breathing is defined not by the amount of air you take in, but by the pattern, rate, and mechanics of how you breathe. You can feel perfectly comfortable while chronically hyperventilating. In fact, that feeling of comfort is part of the problem. You have adapted to a broken baseline. Here is another belief that needs to die today: the idea that deep breathing means big breaths. You have probably been told at some point to take a deep breath when stressed, and you probably breathed in dramatically through your mouth, puffed up your chest, and held it briefly. That is not deep breathing. That is accelerated, shallow breathing with extra steps. True deep breathing is nasal, slow, and driven from the diaphragm. Your belly should rise before your chest. Your exhale should be longer than your inhale, and your breathing rate should drop to somewhere between 5 and 8 breaths per minute. Most relaxation advice in popular culture gets this completely backward, and every time someone tells you to just take a deep breath using the wrong technique, they are unknowingly reinforcing the same dysfunction that is keeping you stuck. All right, you now know the problem, you know the science. Here is exactly how you fix this, starting tonight. Step 1, the physiological sigh. This is the fastest way to reset your nervous system in under 60 seconds. Take a double inhale through your nose, a full inhale, then a short, sharp sniff on top of it to fully inflate your lung sacs, followed by a long, slow exhale through your mouth. Repeat this twice. Stanford research confirmed in 2022 that just 2 physiological sighs reduce physiological stress markers more effectively than any other breathing technique tested. Step 2. Practice box breathing for 5 minutes before sleep. Inhale for 4 seconds through your nose, hold for 4, exhale for 4, hold for 4. This directly trains your diaphragm and recalibrates your carbon dioxide tolerance. Step 3, and this is the one people almost always overlook. Tape your mouth shut at night. I know that sounds extreme, but mouth breathing during sleep is one of the most destructive things you can do to your body. Nasal strips or simple surgical tape across the lips forces nasal breathing and can reduce snoring, improve oxygen saturation, and dramatically improve sleep quality. Now here is something that directly impacts your ability to do all of this. Magnesium deficiency, which affects an estimated 48% of Americans according to the National Institutes of Health, causes chronic muscle tension, including in the diaphragm. A tense diaphragm physically cannot function correctly, no matter how hard you try to breathe properly. This is why I recommend looking into a high-quality magnesium glycinate supplement. Unlike cheaper forms of magnesium, here is where we close the loop I opened at the very beginning of this video. You have taken over 20,000 breaths today. If you are like most people living in the modern world, the overwhelming majority of those breaths were shallow, chest-driven, and mechanically wrong. And your body has been paying the price in ways you probably blamed on stress, aging, genetics, or just bad luck. Chronic fatigue that sleep never fixes, anxiety that comes from nowhere, brain fog that clouds your sharpest hours, muscle tension that no massage touches permanently, digestive problems that mystify your doctor. These are not random afflictions. They are symptoms of a body stuck in a breathing pattern that signals danger 20,000 times a day. The good news, and I want you to hear this clearly, your breathing is one of the only autonomic functions you can consciously override and retrain. Unlike your heart rate or your digestion, you can actually reach into your nervous system through your breath and change your biology deliberately. That is not motivational language. That is neuroscience. You are not broken. You are breathing broken, and now you know exactly how to fix it. Start tonight with 2 physiological sighs before you get into bed. Tomorrow morning, 5 minutes of box breathing before you touch your phone. Notice what changes. Your body has been waiting for this correction your entire adult life. If this video opened your eyes, do one thing right now. Share it with one person you care about. Because there is someone in your life who is exhausted, anxious, and has no idea that their breath is the hidden variable nobody has checked. Drop a comment below telling me your #1 symptom from the list I mentioned: brain fog, anxiety, muscle tension, or sleep problems, and I will personally reply with a specific breathing protocol for your situation. Subscribe if you are serious about understanding what mainstream health advice is not telling you. We go deeper every single week, and check the description for the magnesium glycinate link and the full breathing protocol PDF I put together as a free resource for this video. Disclaimer: this video is for educational purposes only. Nothing constitutes medical advice. Always consult a qualified healthcare professional.